Today I'm just gonna jump right into it. No intro music. We're just getting down to brass tacks here. Now, as you can see in front of me, I have this lovely bouquet of flowers. And the mission today is to see what each flower gives us in terms of a bread recipe. Now, the thing that sparked this is recently I had my little adventures with one of these flowers. I'm going to say which one it is, but people who follow me on Twitter and Instagram would know which one of the flowers I use, and it was a total failure. It was so bad, it had me second guessing my own baking abilities. Now, I ain't no best baker, but I could bake a bread. But the way my bread was feeling using this flour, I was like, nah, it had to be the flour. So I went, tested the same recipe with another flour, and it came out, real good. So posted it online and realized that a lot of people had the same experience. They used this same flour, and yeah, everybody said that their recipes were failing. So it couldn't be coincidence, right? So fun little exercise we're gonna do here. I'm gonna make a bread, the same bread recipe with each flour. We're gonna same ingredients, same proofing time, same conditions under which the dough would be proofing. And we're just gonna check for consistency. Each of these flours have their own branding, they have their own features, I would say. And what we would do is go through each one, check out the ingredients, and see what they yield. These flours, as you know, are all found locally, and they're basically within the same price range. Some cheaper than others, but not by much. It's not that one of these real expensive and one real cheap. What we're gonna do is do a little experiment. Again, we're gonna make our bread with each one and just see if they're consistent, what differences we get with each dough, and then in the final result, what kind of bread we get from each of the flours. This is by no means scientific, I mean, as much as I'm gonna try for same conditions and same consistency throughout each recipe, by no means you're meant to take this as, the final word and the gospel. This is just my little kitchen experiment that I wanted to share with you. So yeah, I think it should be fun. It's gonna be some work because we're gonna have to knead 6 dough and make 6 bread, but I like kneading dough, so let me go. All right, so first up we have the OG 5 Roses. We all grew up on 5 Roses, so this is a vitamin-enriched flour, pre-sifted, and its contents are wheat flour, maturing agents, bleaching agents, calcium, iron, thiamine, riboflavin, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, folic acid. Nutritional information: total fat 0 grams, sodium 0 milligrams, total carbohydrates 23 grams, and the protein is 3 grams. And the 5 Roses has nothing descriptive about it on the packaging. I mean, in terms of its qualities, it's just vitamin-enriched flour, all-purpose flour. So we'll see what kind of bread we get from this. All right, so for the bread recipe, following the same steps throughout, and they're gonna be the same measurements for each bread. So I wanna make sure consistent, so I'm using the knife to level off the amount of flour in the cup. Make sure that we try to get as precise measurements as possible. 3 cups, half cup, 2 teaspoons of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of yeast. Mix that up. I have 2 tablespoons of vegetable shortening. I'm just going to incorporate that into the flour. And now we're going to pour in 1 cup of lukewarm water. These measurements usually give me the perfect consistency dough. So we'll see how each dough comes together. All right, time to transfer to the surface here. Let's bring the dough together. And of course, we want to knead it for the mandatory 8 minutes to develop the gluten in the flour. All right, so that is our 8-minute mark there. The dough looking good, come together nice. So now we're gonna put this in our bowl Cover it and let it proof for 45 minutes. I'm gonna punch the air out. Had the 45 minutes rising time, proofing time. Roll it into about like a half-inch thick disc. So now you're just gonna roll this tightly onto itself to form the loaf. Alright, so putting it seam side down, and we're gonna let this proof again for another 30 minutes. Then we're gonna throw it in the oven at 350 degrees for about 30 minutes. So the Ibis flour, they say, is made of a combination of hard wheat and soft wheat. Alright, here we have the Ibis premium flour, and jumping right in, wheat flour, calcium carbonate, niacin, fungal alpha amylase, absorbic acid, reducing iron, maturing agent, bleaching agent, thiamine monohydrate, yeah, something so, riboflavin, hope I'm pronouncing that right, and folic acid. Total fat 1 gram, saturated fat 0 grams, cholesterol 0 milligrams, sodium 83 milligrams, protein in this is 12.3 grams. So the Ibis flour, they say, is made of a combination of hard wheat and soft wheat. Bread baked from this flour displays an even crust, color, fine crumb texture, and a good loaf volume. They say this flour is perfect for all household baking needs, so we'll see what kind of bread we get from the Ibis premium grade flour. 3.5 cups of flour, teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of sugar, mix that together, 2 teaspoons of yeast, 2 tablespoons of vegetable shortening. Now for the water. And this already feels like a very soft dough, very supple already, and I ain't started to knead it yet. The gluten already start to form, and I ain't started to knead it yet. So I'm gonna transfer this onto the surface. And as you can see, I'm not flouring the surface at all. I'm just putting it on the surface and working with it as is. So you don't have any extra flour going into any of the doughs. Alright, so that's the 8 minutes for this one. And this dough come together real nice, supple, soft, but still, you know, have a nice firmness to it. Again, same 45 minutes, proofing time, and then we'll take it to the next step. Alright, so we're prepping the Ibis dough for the pan, rolling it out. Again, tucking it in tight as we roll into the pan. Alright, so we're going to let this proof for 20 minutes and then into the oven. Alright, so the Lotus all-purpose premium flour, they say this all-purpose is a mellow blend of hard and soft wheats designed to offer the home baker a complete range of satisfactory products. Wheat flour, calcium carbonate, anti-caking agent, niacin, fungal alpha amylase, absorbic acid, reduced iron, maturing agent, bleaching agent, thiamine monohydrate, riboflavin, and folic acid. So, yeah, we'll see what kind of bread we get from Lotus all-purpose premium flour. 3.5 cups flour, 2 teaspoons of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of yeast, 2 tablespoons of shortening, I find again a slightly different feel to the dough with this. It's almost feeling like if it have baking powder in it. I could already tell this gonna be drier than the others. I mean, I added the same amount of water, the 1 cup, and I have a whole set of dry parts still. This is gonna take a little more elbow grease, but we in it to win it. So I had to really put my back into this and use my knuckles to bring this dough together. But this dry and it's not elasticy at all. So, you know, you'll keep working it. This is definitely a harder and stiffer dough to work with. Alright, so that's the 8-minute mark on this, and let me tell you, This one make my buster sweat. I ain't gonna lie. It's come together alright. Still very stiff, not as malleable as one would like, but you know, we're keeping it consistent, so we shall give this time to proof for the 45 minutes and then trim in the oven and see what we get from this one. I find this one kind of dry out a little bit, but we'll see what kind of final result we get from this. Into the pan this goes. We'll let this rest for another 20 minutes and then into the oven. All right, so we have here the Nutrimix premium grade flour, and let's see what they say here. They say Nutrimix premium grade flour is a combination of high quality wheats. That's it. That's all they say about the flour. And the ingredients: wheat flour, calcium carbonate, fungal alpha amylase, absorbic acid, cornstarch, niacin, iron, benzoyl peroxide, thiamine, riboflavin, folic acid. So we will see what kind of bread we get from the Nutrimix premium grade flour. Sugar, salt, 2 tablespoons of yeast, 2 tablespoons of shortening in the mix. The dough quickly came together after I added the liquid, so that's a real good sign of nice hydration. Coming together real nice here. So already I could transfer to the surface and work with this. Alright, so that's the 8-minute mark. And again, this was a nice dough to work with, so we're gonna set it aside, let it proof for 45 minutes, and then continue with the baking process. So dealing with the Nutrimix dough now, and I ain't gonna lie, this one way more elasticy, more stretchy than any of the other doughs that I worked with so far. So much so that I didn't even push this out with the rolling pin, but I'm still gonna use the rolling pin to make sure that it's even. Into the pan, second proof, and then into the oven. And here we have the Hibiscus all-purpose flour. They say this is pre-sifted, vitamin-enriched, and ideal for bread, roti, cakes, and bakes. Ingredients are wheat flour, calcium carbonate, anti-caking agent, niacin, fungal alpha amylase, absorbic acid, reduced iron, maturing agent, bleaching agent, thiamine mononitrate. I had to learn to say that. Riboflavin, I don't know how you pronounce it, and folic acid. So we will see what kind of bread we get from the Hibiscus flour. Sugar, salt, mix. 2 tablespoons of shortening. Bring this together. It's going to transfer onto the surface, and we're going to give it the 8-minute special. So that's the 8-minute mark there, and it come together in a nice smooth ball. So what we're going to do is 45 minutes, leave it to proof, and then form the bread. Next proofing session, and then into the oven. And the Country Pride premium all-purpose flour, they say it's superior quality and honest prices. So they say the Country Pride premium all-purpose flour is a combination again of high quality wheats. This product has been manufactured with great care and under strict hygienic quality standards using the most technologically advanced equipment. It's appropriate for regular use in all household preparations, including sweets and savories. Ingredients: wheat flour, calcium carbonate, fungal alpha amylase, absorbic acid, cornstarch, niacin, iron, thiamine, riboflavin, folic acid. Yeah, so we will see what kind of results we get from the Country Pride. 2 teaspoons of sugar, teaspoon of salt. Mix that together. 2 tablespoons of vegetable shortening. We're going to mix this in, make sure it's well combined. onto our surface, and we're gonna knead this for the required 8 minutes. All right, so there's the 8-minute mark on this dough. So, as usual, 45 minutes, proofing time, and then on to the next step. Springy, that is good. And very elasticy, and actually this has to be the, I guess, wettest, if you want to say that. Definitely the most hydrated one of the batch. All right, so second proof on this and then into the oven. All right, after a day of kneading and baking, we are finally at the end of this wheat warfare, this flour fracas, this gluten gauntlet. And I had to say, off the bat, just looking at the loaves, off the bat, the Country Pride produced the best looking loaf. But definitely, you know, I'm gonna get a closer look, cut into it, and we're gonna examine each one. Moment of truth for the 5 roses. I'm gonna cut in here. Looking nice here. Soft texture. This have a nice crust, very soft on the inside. So yeah, the 5 roses, I would say overall, good outcome. Nice little crust, nice and soft on the inside. We cut into the Ibis. This is the Ibis flour here. Real nice results. Nice crust here, soft on the inside. You know, sturdy. It's a sturdy bread, but it's not hard, very soft. Look at that texture. Yes. So you understand what I say by sturdy? It isn't falling apart. Actually get a nice tear on it here. Yeah. It's the kind of bread could stand up to a little pressure. You know? I like working with the Ibis. It's a flour that I use regularly. Alright, so next up is the Lotus. I'm gonna cut this. Take a look inside. See the crumb pattern here. Get a little difference with the Lotus to the others. We didn't have any kind of separation with the Ibis and the 5 roses. Good soft texture. I can't say that this is a bad bread at all. Pretty good. Now for the Nutrimix. Now the Nutrimix give a real nice looking loaf, nice rise. So I have, you know, high hopes for this. You have a nice crust going on there. Flaky, nice. All right. Okay. Much softer than the Lotus and the Ibis. Definitely not as sturdy as I would say. Soft texture. So the Nutrimix definitely give a real nice loaf, kind of flaky crust. A little soft on the inside. Softer than I would like, but if you like a real soft bread, then yeah, you'll like the Nutrimix. I kind of like a bread that in between that. It's soft, but still have a little, you know, a little fight in it now. All right, so this is the Hibiscus. Now, as you could see, the Hibiscus did not give a good rise at all, and the color on it, yeah, it didn't get much color. And again, I did leave all of these for the same time, same temperature and everything. So, we cut in and see what we get on the inside. This is very spongy, right? And as you can see, how it kind of breaking apart here, it have very little gluten development going on here. So the reason why I actually did this video is because I had a bad experience with the Hibiscus flour, and it had me doubting my own baking capabilities. Now again, I am not no big baker, I am no master baker, but I figure, you know, if I have a recipe that I'm using and it's coming out good for other flours, then maybe it's the flour that's causing the problem. And I was correct. I posted my experience with the Hibiscus flour online, and a lot of people chimed in and said that they had the same experience with the Hibiscus. And yeah, as you could see here, very little gluten development, the bread spongy. Not the kind of texture that you would like for bread at all. I mean, we give it a taste still. Even the taste and all, it's all off. I don't know how to describe it, but it's not a good bread. Yeah, so the hibiscus really is a very problematic flour, I find, for bread. I don't know if it'll be better for muffins, cookies, cakes, that kind of thing, but definitely for bread, I would say do not use hibiscus flour. I did not try cake, I did not try cookies and muffins and that kind of thing. So if you want, you could try it for those kind of applications and see what kind of results you get. But for bread and roti, fry bake, that kind of thing, nah, the hibiscus will not recommend. Last in the lineup is the Country Pride. So let me dig in. Nice crust. I really had higher hopes for the texture for this one, but let me see what's going on with the taste. Nice, soft. All right, so we are at the end of this process. This little experiment here to see which one of the flours reigns supreme. And I have to say, in all honesty, taking into consideration the final results of the loaves that we got, that the differences borderline negligible, with the exception of the hibiscus. The hibiscus, I would say stay away from that if you're making like bread, fry bake, roti, pies. Yeah, stay away from the hibiscus. But the others, slight differences. It ain't nothing too big. I mean, you could work with the dough, work with the flour, tweak your recipe to get the results that you're looking for. If I have to choose my favorites, I would say the Nutrimix and the Ibis, I find gave the best results for me personally. If you have experience with these flours and you have a difference of opinion, let me know in the comments which ones you find are the best. And yeah, I mean, fun little exercise. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. A lot of work went into doing it. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please take a moment to do so. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all later.